Hey beautiful, I'm so glad you're here for the finishing touches that you can put on your closet. When we're organizing our closet, that's great. We feel so accomplished when we are down to just what we really want, and that's the most important part. But sometimes you want to kind of give it that extra something special. Make it look more like a department store and nice and settled and finished off. So here are a few tips to make that finished closet really look finished and make it somewhere that you might want to just hang out with a good book and a bottle of wine and enjoy it. So here are some of my favorite tips for finishing off that closet. One of my first and most favorite things to do, if you have the space, is see how I've spaced out my hangers a bit? Each of these hangers have some space between them. And the purpose for that, it looks beautiful. And that's why they do that in the different clothing stores. It's absolutely wonderful and gives you this sense of plenty of space. But aside from that, it also keeps your clothes from getting super wrinkled by being smushed in against each other. So it's easy to grab your clothes in and out when they're not smushed together really tight. If you have to force your clothes in, it's really hard. Keeps them from getting wrinkled, and it just looks a little bit more polished. Another thing you can do that you might see, I have some dividers. So for me, I have my categories are by sleeve length primarily. So I have no sleeve, short sleeve, long sleeve. I also have some things that are sets so that go together, and I've labeled each of them into various categories. Now you can grab these off of places like Amazon. I'll share a link to some of my favorite places or my favorite things, and this will be in some of my favorite things, some of these options that you can find a link to buy. But I will say, if you're going to grab some of these, don't do what I did. I grabbed some that were just the same size as my rod because I have a very thick rod. It's one of those older homes. So being a thicker rod, that means they're actually rather hard to scoot over. So they kind of get stuck and then I can't get them to move over anymore. Don't do that. Make sure that when you grab them, grab ones that have extra space, more than what your rod is, or else you might regret it. So these are ones that I will probably change out, but it helps because my husband likes to help out sometimes and put my clothes away. This way he can see exactly where they should go. Another thing that I do to make clothes just look a little more finished and keep it nice and neat a lot longer is with folding. Now with your folded clothes, you can see I like to place the fold facing out. I do this with towels as well because it just gives that finished look. Now on the other end, if you were to flip these around, then you will see that the other end is just not as attractive to look at. So if you had that side pointing out, that looks like a cluttered mess. Even though they're nicely folded, you can't tell that they're nicely folded. But if you do the folded end out, it just looks more finished and you can easily see what you have. Plus, another thing that I say, don't stack things in your closet more than about 3 or 4 high, especially if there's something like sweaters. You see how wobbly that stack was. When you try to do a stack that high, they're going to start to lean over. And if you need to get something from the bottom, it's extra hard. It's very difficult to keep these looking nice. So the shorter the stack, the better. So now, if you have that smaller stack, it's nice and easy to grab what you need from wherever it's at, and they won't fall over. It looks nice and neat. You might need to add some extra shelves. If you have too much space in between, then you can add a shelf here easily, or I like to just use bins. These bins have see-through fronts, so I can see which sweaters are inside, but this way I can use all of my space because I can stack, I've probably got about 12 sweaters total, about 6 and 6 within these bins. I can use all of my space that's between the shelves because I do like to have a couple of things stored that are taller on the shelf. So instead of adding another one, I use the bins. And then this way, I'm not battling a huge bin to get it down because if it's a super heavy bin, that makes it hard. So the bins stack on top of each other. The sweaters are nice and neat. They don't get dust. It's just a lot easier and it gives it that finished touch. One other thing that you can do to have some fun with your closet and make it a little bit unique is you can actually decorate your closet. Now, in my closet, I don't have any decorations up because I have very limited space in this older home with very few closets, and this is all the room I have. But back when I had a walk-in closet, I actually kept one of the top shelves open, and I put some of my memorabilia up on the top so that I could look at it and enjoy it. That way, whenever I walked into the closet, I was able to enjoy this whole shelf of my memorabilia. I've also at times installed an extra shelf in an awkward space for memorabilia and been able to put that up there. I've had people put artwork up on some of the top shelves of their closet or hang artwork on their walls of their closet. Anything that makes you smile, if you have extra space, feel free to use it. You can also put some artwork and fun things in front of bins. So if you have maybe a bin of photos or things that you very rarely use or emergency supplies, feel free, put a piece of art leaning up right in front of it so you don't even have to look at the bin and you can see the artwork and really enjoy it. So those are some of my favorite things to do to make your closet just look a little bit more finished, kind of like if it was at a fancy department store. I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure to check out my other closet videos, and as always, I love you.